What you're going through, what you've gone through, is not for naught. Other planets that are going through similar things, but maybe not quite as intensively, are learning from you. Because we pass along information from your experiences to them. And then they go, well, if they can do it, anyone can do it. If they can find light from that much darkness, our problems don't look so bad. So thank you, Earth, for being the advanced university of limitation and release. Limitation and release. Now, of course, as the idea of the changes within you goes on and on, there will be, according to this process of interaction, more and more opportunities to interact in different ways. Some of this has already begun. Some of you already know that there are interactions that take place in your dream life, in your dream reality, between different beings and yourselves. And thus then, when you wake up, you can incorporate that information into your daily waking lives. But there will also, relatively rapidly in terms of your history, come a time in the near future when you will begin to interact more and more openly with many of us, when we will begin to interact more and more openly with many of you. We have, of course, heard from you the question over and over and over and over and over and over again, why don't you just land and get it over with? Now, again, please, 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 no offense, we love you, but would you want to land in an insane asylum where all the inmates had guns? So, just to illustrate the point dramatically, or even melodramatically, since we know many humans love melodrama, the idea is simply that it's not appropriate not only for us, it's not appropriate for you for the following reason. As we have now begun to explain, there are different states that you may be in, and a different state of vibration is representative of a different state of psychology. And when you are still experiencing the idea where there might be belief systems that are buried within you that you might be afraid to look at, that you're not ready to integrate, interacting with a civilization that is more highly integrated would be like taking a very slow turning gear and a very high speed turning gear and jamming them together before they have a chance to synchronize. Our vibration would overwhelm you to the point that it would force the issues you're not ready to look at to the surface of your consciousness, and in many cases actually cause psychotic shock. That wouldn't be very beneficial for our communication in the future. Now, we know many of you say, oh, no, I'm ready. Land tomorrow, land your ship tomorrow. I'm ready to walk on board and say howdy. All right. However, many times people have asked us this, and in the 23 of your years that we've been communicating with you in this way, we have agreed on 3 different occasions to actually go ahead and do that. We've told the person where to go, when to be there, and that we would land our ship and meet them. In every single case, no matter how sure they were that they were ready, as soon as they perceived that they started to see something coming down and landing, every single one of them ran, scared out of their wits. Again, not because they were scared of us, because they were scared of what was coming up within them. And it was overwhelming them, and in that sense they couldn't deal with it, panicked, and fled. It is a real energy vibration. And what you are experiencing of our energy in this, because we are obviously giving off a percentage of our energy through the channel's body, and in that sense out into the room, immersing you in it, as we are then picking up on the vibrations of all of you, what you are experiencing of our energy now is about 0.1% of what we are. The idea is to understand that this must be done gently so that you meet us halfway, at least. So that you really understand what you're getting involved in. Because you must understand, what you are coming into contact with is an entire galactic society. And much of the idea of how it functions is nothing like a lot of your science fiction. It functions in a very different way, using synchronicity in ways you have absolutely no idea of, to allow itself to expand and grow and interact with other beings and have experiences that you would find daunting at this particular point. So bit by bit, you become an honorary member, and then an initiate member, and bit by bit, you learn the ropes, and you begin to interact with more and more beings, and in time, you are, in a sense, given an assignment. And the assignment, one of the first assignments on that level your planet will be given, is to begin to interact with another civilization that's coming up the ladder in their evolutionary consciousness process. And you, in a sense, will then eventually, to them, be as we are to you. You will be their UFOs. And you will cause buzz in their society. And you will observe them and help them and learn from them as they learn from you. That's a ways down the line in terms of time as you count it. But as things are going along right now, it is our perception of the energy reading we are taking right now that somewhere between your year of 2033 and 2037, you will become true members of the association on a beginning level. But by that time, somewhere after 2015 to 2017, as we read your collective energy now, one way or another, through a variety of means, your entire planet at that point will be aware of the fact, and I mean aware of the fact, that other civilizations exist. There will be no question any longer after those years that other civilizations beside your own exist. There will be a few more strong sightings and interactions after that point that will drive the point home. And it will cause you to really rethink what's going on in yourself to the degree that by your year of 2025, you will have established enough of a change within yourselves that it will begin to accelerate the process toward the 2033 to 37 mark of becoming an initiate member in our particular alliance of worlds. Now, again, it's all up to you. Remember, there's no such thing as a prediction of the future. There is only a sensing of the energy that exists at the moment the prediction is made. If that energy doesn't change direction or momentum, it will come to pass. If it does, it won't. But there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. No psychic ever predicts the future. There are an infinite number of probable reality futures. A psychic is picking up on the idea of the vibration that is strongest at the moment the prediction is made in the present. A psychic is reading the present more fully, not the future. But if that energy doesn't change, the prediction comes to pass. But often, a prediction will actually add energy in such a way as to render itself obsolete. Because when you hear a prediction that is representative of a reality you don't prefer, then you change the energy and you yourselves render the prediction obsolete. Doesn't mean the prediction was wrong. Means you've rendered it obsolete by being made aware of where the energy was at the moment the prediction was made. And if you don't like it, you can change it. That's how to use psychic ability, is expanding your awareness of what's going on more fully here and now so you can really chart the course you really wish to chart. Now, one thing we can obviously say to you with a relatively high degree of conviction and certainty is, if we were not going to ultimately interact with you in a blatant and open manner, we probably wouldn't be having these conversations at all. So the fact that we're having this communication now, even in this way, is an indicator that it's highly likely that in the time frame I have just laid out for you, you will, within that time frame, experience more and more and more solid contact with us and other civilizations. Although we will not be the first ones you will make official contact with physically. No, I won't tell you who it is. However, as I said, the first step is that somewhere around your year of 2015 to 2017, and I'm not saying it's because there will be landings everywhere, but somewhere around that time, your entire civilization, relatively speaking, will be absolutely aware that it will be a fact that other civilizations exist. Now, many people on your planet have talked about the idea of the year 2012. The idea of the end of a cycle, the beginning of a new. Well, yes, it is. And it represents many different kinds of things with regard to your overall collective energy and consciousness. It's like the leading edge of your consciousness wave, a critical mass threshold crossing idea, wherein upon after that moment, there will be a heightened acceleration on a variety of levels in your society. One of the ways relevant to this conversation today that 2012 is a demarcation with regard to the idea of contact is we've spoken about the idea of not intervening, not interfering with your civilization. There has been, relatively speaking, a kind of hands-off policy to make sure that the choices you were making in that sense were your own and we were not interfering unduly in those choices. And so a kind of quarantine has been on your planet for thousands of years. Don't mess with the natives, so to speak. Many of your science fiction writers have picked up on this psychically, and many of them have labeled it a kind of prime directive. Do not intervene with civilizations that are in the process of developing to a certain point until they get to that point. 2012 represents a demarcation where the quarantine ends. Now, that doesn't mean, again, on the very next day there will be ships landing all over your planet saying howdy. But what it means is, from that point forward, there could be. The quarantine will be lifted, and from that point forward, it'll be completely and utterly, totally in your hands as to how quickly contact will occur. It will no longer be the product of us taking a hands-off backseat position or attitude. From that point forward, we will be able to interact with you blatantly, but from that point forward, it will be completely up to you as to when we do so based on the changes you make in yourselves and your society. Is that understandable? Yes. Yes. All right. Now then, what is the time frame that exists for the first part of this transmission remaining? Do you have about what you would call 30 of your minutes? Yes. Yes. All right. We will then, at this phase, interact with you more directly in the form that you call questions for the remainder of the first part, first phase of this interaction. So those of you that wish to interact in that way through discussion or question, by all means, please at this point, feel free to do so. All right, I'll say, let us continue with the transmission in the following way. All of you become very comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish. Relax. We're going to do little exercise, little meditation exercise. This exercise is specifically designed to stretch that portion of your brain that is connected to interdimensional transformation. So, by doing this exercise, whenever you wish, you will, through this practice, hone the skill of becoming more sensitive to the idea of different dimensional frequencies, and will assist yourself and, by proxy, others in making it easier for you to transition into a dimensional reality of a different frequency than your own, And that will aid and assist in any future contact. And also, of course, in any future growth of yourself with respect to connecting to other levels of your own consciousness or other levels of all that is. It's a very simple exercise, but it takes advantage of your ability to imagine and visualize those centers in your brain being very important in helping to co-create transitions of energy, shiftings of frequency. So, have fun with this whenever you do it, and have fun with it now. Just relax, take a deep breath in, and let it out. Take another deep breath in, and let it out. Take a deep breath in for the third time, and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And let it out. Now, just continue to breathe gently, slowly, calmly. Allow your body to relax. Forget the concerns of the day. Just allow everything that you may hear, smell, taste, touch, feel to be a part of the overall experience. Anything that is there belongs there. Invite it all in. And now, imagine in your mind's eye, in any way, shape, or form that your imagination so desires. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Whatever interpretation you wish to give this is fine, as long as it represents to you what we are saying. Imagine, picture, if you will, visualize, if you will, an equilateral triangle, any color, any size, doesn't matter, against any background, doesn't matter. Three-sided equilateral flat triangle. And as you picture this, just sit with it a moment. Just appreciate its geometry, its look, the material it may be made out of, the appearance it may have, whether sitting or floating, opaque or transparent, doesn't matter. Now, allow the picture in your mind to sort of push itself into a three-dimensional tetrahedral shape, a three-sided pyramid. Four-sided really, but not including the base, three-sided pyramid made of equilateral triangles. Take the flat triangle and in your mind push it out into a three-dimensional tetrahedral object. It can rotate slowly in front of your mind's eye if you wish. It's up to you how you wish to see it, but just know that you are changing it from a flat triangle to a three-dimensional object, a tetrahedral pyramid. Sit with it, appreciate it. Just get a sense of the difference between the vibrations of the two objects. And you can even go back and forth if you wish. Three-dimensional to flat, flat to three-dimensional of the triangle. Just play with it. Push it in and out, back and forth, flat and solid. Back and forth, back and forth. Now, let that image fade. And in its place, allow your mind's eye to imagine and picture and visualize a flat square. Just look at it. Same thing with the triangle. A square, either straight on to you or at an angle, doesn't matter. Just know it's a square. And as you allow yourself to feel that image, play with that image, visualize that image, allow your mind to push it into a cube, a three-dimensional cube. See it expand into a cube. See one square face become 6. Let it rotate around. Let it do what it will do. Appreciate it, its color, size, material. And again, if you wish, you can go back and forth and back and forth. Cube, square, square, cube. Pushing it in and out, inflating, deflating. But making the transition between flat and three-dimensional. And now, allow that image, square and cube, to fade. And imagine, if you will, a circle. Flat circle. Again, however you wish to picture it, of whatever size, of whatever material, of whatever presentment. Picture it. Feel it. Relate to it. Look at it. If any of your other senses engage with it, let them do so. And as you are feeling your relationship with the flat circle, then allow your mind's eye to visualize it pushing into a sphere, a ball, three-dimensional. See it hanging before you, sitting before you, floating before you, whatever you wish. Rotating or not, small or large, doesn't matter. Shiny or dull, transparent or opaque, doesn't matter. The important thing is that you allow yourself to really see the transition between the flat circle and the sphere. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, allow this image to fade and picture, if you will, a flat spiral line, either going from the center, spiraling out, going from the outside, spiraling in, doesn't matter. It can have 3 turns, 2 turns, 4 turns, it doesn't matter. Just a flat spiral. Imagine it, see it, relate to it, feel it. It has a particular vibrational feeling, a particular sensation associated with it. And as you then see the flat spiral, allow yourself to picture, to visualize that you pull it into an elongated spring. So it is a spiral going upward. Stretch it out like a spring. Feel the springiness of it as you do so. Feel it spring back and forth from a stretched out spiral to a flat spiral again. Back and forth. Back and forth. At whatever rate, in whatever way it pleases you to do so. Play with that for a minute. It can be pointed like a cone when you stretch it out. It can be equidistant when you stretch it out. It doesn't matter. The important thing is the stretching. Flat to stretch, stretch to flat. Now, allow yourself, if you can, to picture the first 4 objects: the flat triangle, the flat square, the flat circle, the flat spiral, all together, floating around, sitting around, but somewhere near each other, so that you can see them all. Whether you have to turn to look at them, whether they are in the 4 directions, whether they're all in front of your face in one direction, doesn't matter. Just picture the flat versions of all of these things. Triangle, square, circle, spiral. And then see them all balloon out into their 3D counterparts, filling up into the tetrahedral pyramid, into the cube, into the sphere, into the extended spiral. And back and forth and back and forth and back and forth like a little dance. Stretch and flat, expand and shrink. All four things simultaneously, one after another, doesn't matter, as long as they are all included. Now, as you see these objects going from flat to expanded, expanded to flat, all four of them, allow yourself to imagine that you are also in the middle of these objects, that you are a fifth object. And you see yourself in your reality, but you also imagine yourself expanding beyond your body to a larger self, a spirit self, a consciousness self, and back and forth in the same way the other objects are going back and forth. From your physical reality to higher level dimensional realities, where you can see a big picture of everything. And back down to the physical point of view, and up into the more expanded point of view. However you wish to depict that in your imagination is completely up to you. But do it at the same time and in the same way that the other objects are contracting and expanding. You are also simultaneously contracting and expanding, and you are simultaneously contracted and expanded at the same time. So that you now begin in your imagination to see that the flat versions of everything and the expanded versions of everything coexist simultaneously. They are all there, all at once. Beginning and end, ending and beginning. They are all their own distinct and discrete shapes, and yet at the same time they are all interconnected. And they are all interconnected in you, in your imagination, in the center of your consciousness, in the center of your brain. It is as if they are all projected outward from the center of your head. Projected outward into manifestation, into perception, into materiality. And then they all collapse back into your head. And then are all projected outward again. And collapse back into your head. And are all projected outward again. And expand outward into themselves. Flat and expanded. Flat and expanded. In whatever way your imagination desires to experience what I am describing, let it do so. And know that while you are imagining this, while you are picturing this, while you are visualizing this, that you are stretching that portion of your personality, that you are actually changing and transforming and rewiring the neurology of your brain to be highly capable of being more sensitive to different levels, different frequencies, different dimensions of reality, different dimensions of experience. And now let all of that settle within you. Take a deep breath in and let it out with the same kind of contractive and expansive feeling. Take a deep breath in and let it out. And take a final deep breath in and hold it. And feel the idea locking into you, changing your neurology. And let it out.
Bashar.
And a you good day.
First of all, I'd like to just make a statement that you are such a joy. You are so much fun, and we love you and appreciate you so much.
Our appreciation to all of you as well. You are fun for us.
I bet we are. I'd like to also extend an invitation to you. If you ever would like to land at my door, I will throw you a party. And everyone is invited.
How far will you throw it?
As far as I can.
All right.
All right.
Now, thank you very much, but also I will say, please understand that all the invitations have already been sent out. We will answer according to the timing that serves everyone best. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you have extended an invitation.
Okay, thank you. Here's my question.
Yes.
It's regarding the idea of death on this planet.
Death, yes.
Yes. Not only would I like to talk about what choices do we have after death? What do we do over there? Where do we go?
Whatever you want.
Okay, well, I'd like to discuss that.
Oh,
and then,
all right.
And then, of course, you know, on this planet, when someone dies,
Yes.
it's probably the worst fear we have.
Yes,
And
one of them.
And
In actual fact, I believe fear of public speaking is worse
well,
on a list of phobias of humanity.
Well, I've conquered that one.
Obviously.
I'm sitting here. But I'd like to know, what is it about our attitude that we fear death, and instead of looking at it as just a transformation into the next,
Yes.
we grieve and we have such ceremony. And what do you do on your planet when you die?
Celebrate.
Do you celebrate? Okay.
And also, please remember, we are still in communication with that being.
Yes.
We understand there really is no disconnection. We understand it is just a transition, and we also have the ability to continue to communicate with them in their different state.
Okay.
So do you, of course. But because of thousands of years of ritualization and the experience of disconnection, not real disconnection, but the creation of the experience of disconnection, the personality structure assumes that death means annihilation. And so you mourn the idea. You are afraid in general of the idea because you think it's the end of your identity, when in fact it's actually the expansion into more of yourself. You become more of who you are in death. Physical reality, in a sense, is more like death than death is, because you place so many limitations on yourself. And from the spirit point of view, again, not judgmentally, physical reality is the more dead-like state. So, the idea is that most of the grieving, while you may have it if you wish, not going to take anything away from you, if that feels appropriate, then allow yourself to do so. But generally it comes from feeling like you are being left behind. You're actually mourning for yourself.
Right.
Because you understand innately somewhere that the other being that has died has gone on to a more expanded state, and you also yearn for that as well. Yearn to remember that. Yearn to remember that's who you are. And in that sense, feel that that death has reminded you that you have placed limitations on yourself, and so the grieving is actually for you. Nevertheless, you are getting to a point where you are beginning to understand that the concept of physical death is just a transition. You don't have to lose touch with anybody at all. And as you begin to understand that more and more, you will be able to continue to communicate with those beings in a very clear manner. You understand?
Yes.
Now, upon the idea of expansion into death, most individuals on your planet will feel it or experience it in general as if they are waking up from a dream.
Yes.
Because that is the real reality as far as they are concerned, and the idea of the physical life doesn't carry the same degree of importance per se. It literally is the way you feel when you wake up from a dream and say, oh, this is my real reality, and then the dream just sort of fades off, except whatever pieces may remain that you feel are important for you to remember. Death is like that with regard to physical reality. You wake up and suddenly remember who you are and that you are having this physical dream. You understand?
Yes.
And
yes.
that's why most individuals don't really actually, shall we say, hang around and try to make contact. Because physical reality, again, is not so real from that point of view anymore. They understand they still may have loved ones in physical reality, and they can communicate, and often do. But the overwhelming feeling is that you're actually waking up into your true reality, and the idea of physical reality becomes, to some degree, with a few exceptions, all of a sudden a secondary concern that isn't as real. Does that make sense?
That makes great sense.
From that point there forward, you have the ability to recognize that there are different gradations of non-physical reality in which you can still experience many things according to your consciousness that feel like physical experiences, even though you may no longer be physical. You can actually create cities, houses, all sorts of landscapes that seem very tangible and can be experienced in a very tangible way. But the difference would be is that there really isn't the same idea of space-time, and so in that reality, what you imagine, what you think, is almost instantaneously created. You understand?
Yes.
So, you can actually still have many kinds of experiences in the non-physical reality that are very similar to the idea of physical reality, and there are people in non-physical reality who even form neighborhoods, communities, cities, all sorts of things, because they gravitate to each other because of their vibration. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
You can also function as a guide if you wish. You can go on to other realities if you wish. You can explore other dimensions if you wish. It really is up to you. And in fact, it's even up to you to return, in a sense, to the life you just left and continue on from where you left off. When you die, you still have a choice to keep on living until you make the choice to actually go all the way into non-physical reality. You actually are given the choice to simply go back and pick up where you left off and, in a sense, forget that you actually died, or maybe remember it as a dream, or just some funny kind of glitch in your reality that you don't quite understand how you made it alive through that accident, but obviously you did. Well, in fact, actually, you didn't. But when you died, you were still given the opportunity. Would you like to go back and continue? Yes, thank you, please. All right, there you go. And you pick up from where you left off on the other side of the accident, wondering and scratching your head how you possibly could have made it out of that alive. Well, again, you didn't. Many of you have died many times. You just don't remember.
Right.
But you are given an opportunity and a choice, even then, to pick up the life and keep on going. Now, in a sense, what you're actually doing is you're creating another parallel reality. But you're creating a sense of continuity to such a degree that it seems like it's the same life that you're continuing. It doesn't matter, in effect. You can still have the same ideas, the same goals, the same friends, same feelings, all of it. Although, of course, there's usually something left behind that makes you feel suddenly a little bit different than you did before when you go through an experience like that. You follow me?
Yes.
Is this answering your question sufficiently?
Yes, very helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.